Hello everyone, welcome to Get My Class. So let us solve this question which says selective hybridization in plants requires option A, emasculation, option B, self-pollination, option C, in vitro culture, option D, inbreeding. So let us understand the question. It says selective hybridization in plants required. So what does this selective hybridization require among these? So first of all, we have to understand what is the meaning of selective hybridization. So what do you understand by that? Okay, it is a hybridization where the selection of the plants taken place. Okay, it takes place. That means we have to do the selection of the plants, and even the breeding is done. Breeding is done by selecting male and female plants. Okay? That is, breeding is done by selecting male and female parents, you would say. Okay, so we don't want them to follow self-pollination. We are selecting it. Okay, we are selecting the male plant, we are selecting the male flowers or pollen grains from a plant. We are selecting the female part of a plant. Now, for that, what do? We don't want, so no self-pollination is allowed. No self-pollination, because we want to induce some variation, right? No self-pollination, right, is allowed. So to avoid self-pollination, what do? Okay, usually people during selective hybridization, where the male and the female part of the plant or male parent or the female parent are selected, then what do? We don't want them to undergo, like we don't want the plant to undergo self-pollination. So what do? We perform a technique which is called as emasculation. So what do you mean by emasculation? Emasculation is nothing but removal of the male sex organ. Removal of male sex organ in plants. Okay, here we are talking about in plants. Okay, in plants. So what is the male sex organ in plants? These are nothing but the stamens, right? Stamens. So here the stamens are removed, and hence you will have only the carpel there. Only the female sex organ will be there. So you can pick up desired pollen grain and try to pollinate it. That is what is selective hybridization. Now let us see. Option A is emasculation. Yes, that is very much required. So as to avoid self-pollination. Okay, so that is very, very important point. There. So that is the correct option. Option B says self-pollination. Selective hybridization in plants requires self-pollination. No, it doesn't require self-pollination because you are selecting the pollen from the plant which has some kind of a desired characteristics, right? So it is ruled out. Option C says in vitro culture. Here we are talking about selective hybridization, and so you don't need to culture it there because we are performing the pollination. So it is nowhere, in vitro culture doesn't come into picture at all. Then option D says inbreeding. Inbreeding, again, it is a type of self-pollination only where the same, plant will undergo self-pollination, and it is like, that is what is called as inbreeding, where there is no variation. The same genetic makeup is again continued in the offspring, which may cause later, problem, because that may bring about homozygosity, that may bring about loss of reproductivity, which we don't know. So this is not selective hybridization. Okay, that is inbreeding is within the breed. Okay, within the same variety. Hence it is ruled out. So what is the correct answer? The correct answer is option A. So let us finalize the answer or conclude it. Option A. I hope you understood the explanation. Thank you, everyone.